Tensions between the United States and Pakistan appear to be growing despite U.S. efforts today to publicly downplay the problems. An official tells NBC's Andrea Mitchell there is reason to think that the Pakistani spy agency intentionally outed the identity of a CIA station chief. The official calls that unacceptable. It would be the second time Pakistan has done so in the past 5 months. The Washington Post reports the leak may be retaliation for last week's raid on the Osama bin Laden compound, which Pakistan was not told about. Democratic Senator Dianne Feinstein, who chairs the Senate Intelligence Committee, tells Talking Points memo she plans to have her own team investigate what Pakistan knew about bin Laden and will hold classified hearings on the breakdown in U.S.-Pakistani relations. Joining me now, NBC News national investigative correspondent Michael Isikoff. Thanks for joining me tonight, Michael.
Good to be with you, Lawrence.
Michael, Pakistani officials seems to be finding their ways of getting back at the U.S. here. They're doing their own leaking at least one conflicting indicator about what happened during that raid. They're saying to ABC News that one of bin Laden's adult sons went missing during the raid. The Obama administration says that all of the adult men on the compound were actually killed during the raid. What do we make of this kind of factual conflict?
Well, first, it's hard to imagine that somebody could have gone missing in that raid with all the U.S. Navy SEALs around. It's an enclosed compound. You had lots of troops on the ground with guns. If somebody was running away, you would imagine that they would have been caught. But the really amazing thing here is that in the week, more than a week since the raid took place, the tensions between the Pakistanis and the U.S. have actually gotten a lot worse, and they seem to be growing by the day. I mean, this outing of the station chief in Islamabad really infuriated U.S. intelligence officials, and they were making that very clear today. So I think what you've got here, while you have on the one hand the Zardari government trying to paper over the differences and talk about how strong the alliance is between the U.S. and Pakistan, you have below that in the ISI, in the Pakistani military, people who have a long and documented history of having ties to terrorist groups. More on that is going to be coming out in the next few weeks, who feel humiliated, embarrassed here, and are striking back.
But in a positive sign today, NBC News is quoting U.S. officials now who say that Pakistan will allow Americans to question bin Laden's 3 wives that the Pakistanis have in custody.
Right, and that's a good thing. I mean, although if you take a step back, there's been a lot of talk about, why didn't we take the wives and the children with us? I talked to some U.S. officials today who are making the point, what would we have done with them? Where would we have taken them? They're not wanted terror suspects. There is this little thing called the rule of law. On what grounds would we have effectively kidnapped the people living in that compound who we had no reason to believe were directly linked to any terror acts, who certainly weren't wanted by the U.S. So I think all said and good, U.S. officials were pleased that the Pakistanis took custody of these individuals. And at some point, if we get access to them and we can learn a little bit more, great.
The New York Times reported new details on the raid today, saying that President Obama was originally given a plan where the special ops team was under orders not to engage Pakistani forces. The president then overruled that, changed the order to allow SEAL Team 6 to fight their way out of Pakistan if necessary. Why is the Obama administration allowing details like that to leak when they're trying to improve their relationship with Pakistan?
Well, look, come on, Lawrence. I mean, leaks don't all necessarily come with the approval of the president and his national security team at the top. There are lots of different agencies in the U.S. government. There are lots of people who want to get versions of their story out there. And I suspect that's what this was. It clearly didn't serve the diplomatic interest of the United States right now. But if that's what happened, then, there are going to be people in the government who are going to talk about it.
NBC national investigative correspondent Michael Isikoff. Thanks for joining me tonight, Michael.
Thank you, Lawrence.